There are different causes of diabetes and we will discuss them here. There are millions of individuals on the planet right now that have diabetes, but something that may surprise you is the fact that the actual cause is unknown to quite a lot of these individuals. Another issue of not knowing what causes diabetes is that a lot of folks do not understand that they are at risk of contracting this disease. And a lot of times you can end up preventing diabetes if you actually comprehend if you are at risk of contracting this disease. For individuals who want to understand how to prevent this disease, you're going to find that we are going to be speaking about a number of ways this can be accomplished in this video. There is one primary cause of diabetes that is actually not preventable for the most part, and that's the reality that heredity can wind up causing your diabetes. Of course, simply because your parents or grandparents have diabetes does not necessarily mean that you're going to have it also, but it is likely. If diabetes ends up running in your family, you should realize that the likelihood of you all getting this ailment are 25% higher. Even if you do end up with diabetes as a result of this cause, I ought to mention that there's a lot of ways that your diabetes can be dealt with. Something a lot of folks do not think about in relation to being a risk of diabetes is the sorts of foods that they eat. Refined carbohydrate foods, or even foods that tend to have an excess amount of sugar in them, are just a couple of the kinds of foods which can lead to diabetes. So to be able to lessen the risk of diabetes, the simplest way to accomplish this is to ensure you're not eating these foods. Take into account that if you tend to eat too much food every single day, this is also going to be a thing that is going to increase your risks of contracting this disease. See if you can't find a healthy diet that you will be able to stick to, and you will be far better off decreasing the risks of ever having this issue. Along with the overeating that we talked about earlier, you are going to discover the people who are extremely overweight are in addition at high risk of diabetes. Something which you might not be conscious of is that being overweight is one of the primary causes of diabetes. In fact, this results in diabetes much more than any other cause. The reason for this would be that the unwanted fat throughout your body prevents that natural insulin within your body from working correctly. I am certain you are able to understand that when your insulin isn't being delivered to your body, you are going to need to take insulin shots on a regular basis. Staying at a healthy weight will be a thing that is very important for people who would like to prevent diabetes. You will also find you may be able to reverse diabetes if you get in shape. Something loads of folks don't comprehend is that smoking is one more thing that can end up leading folks to having diabetes. Your risks are only going to wind up increasing if you find that you do any of the things that we have talked about in this video. For those of you who do smoke and you want to reduce the possible risks of ever having diabetes, you might want to stop smoking as quickly as possible. Smokers actually have a 40% to 50% increased risk of in fact winding up with diabetes.